So I just got done watching Trauma Center, and I don't know much about this movie. Like, I knew it starred Bruce Willis, which he is a good actor when he can act. Because it seems like nowadays, especially with a lot with his VOD run of movies, this being one of them, but this one definitely does seem to be an improvement and higher in production value over a lot of these other VOD movies like 10 Minutes Gone, and some other movies I just cannot remember the names because he's in a lot of how to put this, he's in a lot of, just like no named like action movies. The first reaction after watching Trauma Center is I didn't actually hate my life watching this movie. This movie is actually fairly decent. It's not a complete bus fire, and it's not like the greatest action movie, which that will be my first point I want to bring up. It's hard to call this movie an action movie when there's so limited action scenes in the movie and they don't last for longer than a minute. Like there's maybe two action scenes I can recall from watching the movie. There's the final fight in the movie, which I think is really cool, and it's good to see Bruce Willis doing some of his own stunts, even though they're very minor stunts. It's good to see Bruce Willis doing what Bruce Willis is good at doing, which is kicking people's ass. As far as Bruce Willis's performance in this movie, he definitely does look like he is trying to give a good performance here. Like his delivery of his dialogue, while at points is very over the top and is very like comedic, but for all the wrong ways. He does give a good performance, and he is watchable in this movie. He doesn't get a whole lot to do. He has one really cool action scene, probably his only action scene towards the end of the movie, the final fight, which I've already mentioned. He does have an integral thing that he offers to this story. He's also in this movie a lot more than I expected him to be. But yeah, he is good for what he has to do. He's the good detective here. He's the one trying to investigate like what's going on, who are the guys behind this, and I feel like as playing a detective character, he plays that character well. Continuing on with my action point that I mentioned earlier, it's really hard to call this movie an action movie when action is very little to be seen in this movie. There's maybe like 4 to 5 minutes of action sequences in total in this movie, and 5 minutes out of a 90-minute runtime, it's just like that is not like that's not an action movie. I mean, a few action scenes, like yeah, you can do that with any movie, and people can slap like action on that movie. But yeah, like for a movie that was, I feel like specifically marketed as an action movie, especially with Bruce Willis attached to it, and the movie does play out like an action movie, like the story that's being told. It is, and it very much is, a familiar action story in some way. This movie plays out more as a detective investigation movie, because that's really the movie that you're seeing. This movie is from the perspective of a detective solving the mystery, solving this crime, and action like I said, has very little to do with that concept, and it's more of an investigation movie. Yeah, the action, like when it's there, it's like it's decent. It's that's really hard to say because like yeah, like the action scenes, like I've seen better. Like in almost any other action movie I've seen. Like I've seen better action sequences. These ones are pretty basic. I suppose this movie did have a low budget, but then as far as production value and like the money that's shown on the screen, like there is a good amount of money shown to each shot in this movie. This movie does look professionally made. It does definitely look more like a Hollywood production movie than like it doesn't look cheaply made like a lot of VOD movies. are nowadays. Speaking on the rest of the cast in this movie, our main actress, I really liked her portrayal of this character. She is challenged, I'd say, in this movie because there are a lot of emotional beats that her character does go through. Like one important integral thing to its story is there's a mother and daughter relationship going on, and it's not the greatest relationship that they are dealing with or coping with at the moment, and so that's a relationship that throughout the movie you see the regret on her character. Another positive I can give to this movie is the makeup. The blood effects in this movie look really damn realistic. Like the makeup in the movie is a major positive for this movie because it looks really good. There are a lot of scenes where the makeup is really well done. Another positive I can say about this movie is the cinematography. This is a well professionally shot action movie. Um, it's There's definitely a lot of money thrown into the quality. Yeah, the like I thought that the camera shots, I thought they were quite good. Like there is a little bit of shaky cam, but like I mean, it's not too bad in the movie. But I think for the most part, I think for as far as a VOD movie goes, I think the cinematography looks really good in this movie. Looking on my negatives for a minute, there's certain scenarios that our main character is faced up against in this movie that if like as I was watching, I was kind of thinking about like what would I do like if I was this character, like what would I do? And there was one scene in particular where she had to unlock this door, and literally right next to the door was a fire extinguisher, and she could just grab that and then smack that on the door handle, and it would have broken the door handle, and then it would have opened. And I thought that would have been the more logical if you really wanted to get away from these bad guys that were chasing you the entire movie. And it's just like these certain little set pieces. I was looking at at the set design throughout the movie, and that's another positive I can give to the movie is the set design of the movie looks really good. It looks like a really good hospital. Like you buy into this setting like being a hospital. So yeah, that is another positive about the movie. But you're speaking more just on my negative. Um, it just yeah, like that was a scene that it was such a minor little like background detail, but once you notice it, it's just like how is the main character not noticing that and not looking at her nearby items that she can potentially use to break the door? Yeah, and there's just like a lot of scenes like that in this movie where it's where you thought our main character would be desperate to get out of this scenario and go see Bruce Willis's character or just like tell ground level or tell the ground level people or people who are still working, the midnight shift. Um, but no. And then what else? There's certain pieces of dialogue in this movie that feel very forced, and the delivery of these lines, just like they don't work and they don't flow in the script. When the actors are saying these lines, it comes off very cheesy, and it's like the actors know it's cheesy and they're trying to make it sound serious because front and center, this is a very serious like action movie, and just yeah, like there's a lot of dialogue that just doesn't flow. There's a lot of humor that is very weirdly put into scenes that it doesn't flow well in. But yeah, a lot of my problems just come from what's in the script and the dialogue that's in the script and just certain scenes that play out in the movie. It's just all my problems I feel like have to do with what's in the script. I think on paper, I think a lot of this is a great idea. I think the idea behind this movie, I think while this concept and idea has been done like to death in a few other movies, the best way I can put it is it's a familiar concept we've seen before, and it's just in, and there's a few little tweaks to it to separate it from those other movies. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, I've seen this idea in in a few other action movies, and yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that is my review for Trauma Center. I did not expect this movie to be as well. I didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did, and I was surprised that I did like this movie as much as I did, since I haven't really liked a lot of Bruce Willis's VOD work over the past years. So yeah, I was surprised at how much Bruce Willis was actually pretty good in this movie. Like this obviously doesn't, like he's not better in this than he was in Die Hard. Like he has been in better movies, but as far as his VOD work, this is definitely an improvement. So anyways, yeah, that is my review for Trauma Center. If you have seen Trauma Center, let me know down in the comments, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you think it was mad? Or did you really not like it? Let me know all your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. So anyways, guys, hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.